Good day everyone. We are the group 2 and we are going to discuss to you our topic about evolution of management thought. And here are our reporter's name. We are looking forward that you will learn something from our topic today. So let's start.
Ang evolution of management kay gibahin sa upat ka stages. Sumauni sila. First is ang pre-scientific management period. Ang pre-scientific management period and its contributions was made by Roman Catholic Church, military organizations, writers like Charles Babbage, James Watt, and etc. Second is the classical theory. In classical theory consists of scientific management, administrative management theory, and bureaucratic model. And this tree is under of classical theory. Third is neoclassical theory. The neoclassical theory consists of Elton Mayer's Hawthorne experiment and its contributions to management. And the fourth is the modern theory. The modern theory, there are three parts in the modern theory of management, which is quantitative system approach and contingency approach. Before we proceed to our main topic, let's define first the definition of management and its importance. Management. Management is art of maximizing efficiency as a social process, a method of getting things done through other plans of action, and its direction by a cooperative group moving toward a common goal. Effective utilization of available resources to achieve some same objectives is called management. So, unsa di ang management? Ang management is usa ka process of planning, decision making, organizing, leading, motivation, and controlling the human resources, financial, physical, and information resources of an organization aron ma-achieve ang mga goals efficiently and effectively. What is the importance of management? The importance of management, it makes human effects more productive and brings better technology, products, and services to our society. This time, let's discuss about the evolution of management thought. So what is the evolution of management thought? The evolution of management thought is a process that started in the early days of man. It began since the period man saw the need to live in groups. The sharing was done according to the masses, strength, mental capabilities, and intelligence. Ang evolution of management thought is usa ka proseso nga nagsugod sa mga nauna nga mga tao or kadtong mga tao nga naa sa karaan nga mga panahon. It all started since the period man saw the need to live in groups. Ang naglabaw ani nga mga grupo is nag-organize nga sa pagpabahin-bahin kanila or divide them into another groups. Ang pagbahin-bahin niini is sumala or according sa kusog, abilidad sa hunahuna, ug ang mga kabrayto niini. The main point is, ang pamamahala ngayong ani is gibuhat sugod sa time nga sibilisasyon. Ang evolution of management is makatabang pod sa pagdetermine kung unsa nga principles and practices works best for your teammates og sa imuhang organization. And makatabang pod ni siya sa imo or sa atoa sa pagmanage sa atoang mga ka-teammates or sa imong teammates and your workplace nga mas mag-epektibo pa o mas maglambo pa.
Hi everyone, I am Elizabeth. As my part, I'm going to discuss about the one of the concept of evolution of management thought, which is pre-scientific management period. The advent of industrial revolution in the middle of the 18th century had its impact on management, meaning the industrial revolution daw has a big impact on management. Unsa man ning industrial revolution? Industrial revolution is a transition to new manufacturing processes. Example ani is mga tools and equipments. In short, development of machine tools ang nahitabo during this time. And the rise of the mechanized factory system. And as it is known today, become a dominant feature of the economy. Dominant or most important or most influential. Under this system, land and buildings, hard labor, and capital are made available to the entrepreneur who strives to combine these factors in the efficient achievement of a particular goal. So, diri na nabuo ang mga ideas. All these changes in turn brought about changes in the field of management. Traditional, conventional, or customary ideas or management were slowly given up and management came to be based on scientific principles. Mga ideas daw nga based on scientific rules and laws that are generally accepted. So let's start sa mga pioneers or mga distributors at this period that tried to challenge the traditional character of management by introducing new ideas. So, unsa man ang character of management? It emphasized the importance of communicating clearly, define goals and objectives to employees. Example, functions of management, katong planning, organizing, directing, staffing, and controlling. So, let's check who is Professor Charles Babbage. He was a professor of mathematics at Cambridge University. Professor Babbage found that manufacturers made little use of science and mathematics, and that they relied upon opinions instead of investigations and accurate knowledge. He felt that the methods of science and mathematics could be applied to the solution of methods in the place of guesswork for the solution of business problems. Advocated the use of accurate observations, measurement, and precise knowledge for taking business decisions. So kani si Babbage believed in the benefits of division of labor and was advocate of profit sharing. Next is James Watt Jr. and Matthew Robinson Bolton. Contributed to the development of management thought by following certain management techniques in their engineering factory at Soho in Birmingham. Maupod ni ang ilahang na-contribute to the development of management thought, production planning, standardization of components, maintenance plan, machine layout, provision of welfare for personnel, scheme for executive development, marketing research and forecasting, and elaborate statistical records. So kani si James Watt Jr. and Matthew Robinson Bolton, mag-business partner ni sila duha, and then who invented steam engine that contributed substantially to the Industrial Revolution.
So next to James Watt Jr. is Robert Owens. Robert Owens, the promoter of cooperative and trade union movement in England, emphasized the recognition of human element in industry. He firmly believed that workers' performance in industry was influenced by the working conditions and treatment of workers. He introduced new ideas of human relations, shorter working hours, housing facilities, training of workers in hygiene, education of their children, provision of canteen, etc. Robert Owen managed a group of textile mills in Lanark, Scotland, where he used his ideas of human relations. Though his approach was paternalistic, he came to be regarded as the father of personal management. So si Robert Owens no ang tagapagtaguyod sa kooperatiba and trade union sa England. So gi-emphasize niya o gitagaan pod niya pansin og importansya ang human element sa industriya or mga tao sa industriya, especially ang mga employees. So according kay Robert Owens, ang performance sa mga workers or employees is nakadepende kung giunsa pud sila pag-manage or pagtrato. So na siya gipang introduce nga mga ideas of human relationships, no? So when we say human relationships, it is relationship between employees and management. So mo ani iyang gipang introduce shorter working hours, housing facilities, training of workers in hygiene, education of their children, provision of canteen ug uban pa. So since Sir Robert Owens is na siya gi-manage nga group which is ang group of textile mills. So kadtong mga idea nga iyang gipang introduce is iya hapud tong gigamit or gi-apply sa group nga iyang gi-manage. So tungod sa iyang pagka-paternalistic, like nakafocus ang iyang ideas about sa human relations, so or kung unsaon pag-manage sa mga employees, no. So he is being regarded as the father of personnel management. USA 1844 to 1924. Town was the president of the famous lock manufacturing company Yale and Town. He urged the combination of engineers and economists as industrial managers. This combination of qualities, together with at least some skill as an accountant, is essential to the successful management of industrial workers. So si Town ang president, no, or labaw aning sikat nga kumpanya, ang Yale and Town. So according kay Town, dapat mag-combine or mag-work together ang engineers o economists as industrial managers. So ang qualities ani nga combination, which is ang qualities sa engineers o economists ug ang ilang at least expertise nila as an accountant or in accounting. According kay Town, kaya nga combination of qualities of skills is importante ni siya para sa successful nga management sa industriya. UK 1871 to 1954, Roundtree created a public opinion on the need of labor welfare scheme and improvement in industrial relations. The Industrial Welfare Society, the management research groups, and the Oxford Lecture Conferences in the UK owed their origin and progress to the interest and zeal of Roundtree. So naghimo og public opinion sa Roundtree no regarding the importance of labor welfare scheme or kung unsa ka importante ning mga labor welfare programs, also ang improvement in industrial relations. So when we say industrial relations, it is relations between management and workers in industry. So tungod sa interest of eagerness ni Roundtree, nahimo siyang instrument or nahimo siyang tulay, no, para sa development ani nga mga industries o groups which is ang Industrial Welfare Society, Management Research Group ug Oxford Lecture Conferences. So si Roundtree ang nahimong tulay para sa progress or development ani nga mga groups and industries.
Classical theory. Ang classical theory daw was introduced in the late 19th century during the Industrial Revolution, and it was developed by Frederick Taylor. Classical theory is one of the types of management theories, and there are three streams of classical management theory. It is the bureaucracy by Max Weber, the administrative theory by Henry Fayol, and scientific management by Frederick Taylor. So classical management theory, based on my research, it is emphasized on physical needs of their employees rather than its job satisfaction, and also recommended centralized leadership and decision-making and focus on profit maximization or pag-maximize ng kita. So during 19th century, ang mga managers daw was interested in finding ways ug unsaon nila pag-improve, especially in the relationship between the managers and their employees, and also on how to increase efficiency at their factories and so on. Classical theory views an organization as a machine, and the main part of that machine was its employees. So as a whole, ang classical theory daw, mas giuna gyud nila ang physical o ang tipid nga panginahanglanon sa usa ka empleyado kaysa sa panlibutanong butang. And they also give rewards such as sa kanang pagtaas og sweldo para mas mahikayat or mas magtinarong pagyud og ayo ang ilang mga trabahante. Features of management in the classical period are the following. Number 1.
It was closely associated with the Industrial Revolution and the rise of large-scale enterprise. Number 2. Classical organization and management theory is based on contributions from a number of sources. They are scientific management, administrative management theory, bureaucratic model, and microeconomics and public administration. Number 3. Management thought focus on job content division of labor, standardization, simplification, and specialization and scientific approach towards organization.
Good morning. A. Taylor Scientific Management. Started as an apprentice machinist in Philadelphia, USA. He rose to be the chief engineer at the Midvale Engineering Works and later on served with the Bethlehem Works, where he experimented with his ideas and made a contribution to the management theory for which he is so well known. So, started as an apprentice machinist. Kung learning na siya nga, kabalo siya mo-operate og machines dito sa USA. Siya pod ang ilang chief engineer sa Midvale Engineering Works. So mas daghanay siya kuan, nag-experiment siya yung mga idea and made a contribution, sinana na siya ma-contribute sa management theory. Maong well-known na siya kaayo or ilado na siya kaayo. Moving on. Frederick Winslow Taylor, well known as the founder of scientific management, was the first to recognize and emphasize the need for adopting a scientific approach to the task of managing an enterprise. He tried to diagnose the causes of the low efficiency in industry and came to the conclusion that much of waste and inefficiency is due to the lack of order and system in the methods of largely and the mercy of the workers who deliberately shirked work. He therefore suggested that those responsible for management should adopt a scientific approach in their work and make use of scientific method for achieving higher efficiency. The scientific method consists essentially of A. Observation. Yeah, especially observation. We observe. We're making an observation. B. Measurement. Yeah, also we measured. C. Experimentation. And the inference. I will give you example of, this is the example of Taylor Scientific Management. Example, a fast food restaurant, especially a large chain. Yes, that's the example of scientific. Is an example of use scientific management. This restaurant have detailed and specific plans for task workers are to complete and how the work is to be done as well. So, another example, McDonald's use that scientific management. He advocate a thorough planning of the job by the management and emphasized the necessity of perfect understanding and cooperation between the management and the workers, both of the enlargement of profits and the use of scientific investigation and knowledge in the industrial work. He summed up his approach in these words: science, not road of time. Yes. Harmony, not discord. Cooperation, not individualism. Maximum output in place of restricted output. The development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. That are just Taylor Scientific Management.
Hi, I'm Cherry and my topic is Elements of Scientific Management. The techniques which Taylor regarded as its essential elements or features may be classified as under. Number 1 is scientific task and rate settings, work improvement. Number 2, planning the task. Number 3, vocational selection and training. Number 4 is standardization of working conditions, material equipments, etc. Number 5 is specialization, and number 6 is mental revolution. We go back to number 1. The number 1 is scientific tasks and rate settings, work improvement. Scientific tasks and rate settings, work study, it is defined as the systematic, objective, and critical examination of all the factors governing the operational efficiency of any specified activity in order to effect improvement. Ang scientific task daw is naghatag siyang pamaagi or imong layunin para mapadali or efficient or matiyak nila na hapsay ang usa ka trabaho ug naay improvement. Iyahang work study is a method study. The method study, the management should try to ensure that the plan is laid out in the best manner and is equipped with the best tools and machinery. Dapat, ang method study, dapat tun-an nimo unsay pinaka-best na paraan na ibutang diha na mga tools, materials, and machine para mapadali, maghatag siya unsay saktong pamaagi para mapadali ang trabaho or usa ka operation. Dapat ilang studihan. Letter B is motion study. It is study of the movement of an operator or even of a machine in performing an operation with the purpose of eliminating useless motions. Kini ang motion study, kini ang movements of operator o machinery sa pag-perform sa operation nga ang purpose is nga ma-remove ang dili angay na buhaton. Muna siya ang motion study. Ang letter C is time study, work measurement. The basic purpose of time study is to determine the proper time for performing the operation. Such study may be conducted after the motion study. Both time and motion study help in determining the best method of doing a job and a standard time. Ang time study kanang naamoy target na oras na, for example, humanon ninyo ang trabaho para mapadali ang gihatag or kuhaon ang mga unnecessary movement para ma-meet ninyo ang time nga gihatag. Ano siya ang time study. And fatigue study, letter D is fatigue study. It is standard task is set without providing or for measures to eliminate fatigue. It is maybe either be beyond the workers or maybe overstrain themselves to attain. It is necessary, therefore, to regulate working hours and provide the rest possess scientifically determined intervals. Ang fatigue study, nag-study siya para dili kalaayon or kapuyon ug maayo sa trabaho. Kailangan i-apply nato tong scientific task na method, motion, time para dili ta ma-failure or makapuyan. Muna siya ang fatigue study. Dapat na ay interval. Time interval. Letter E is rate settings. Taylor recommended a different pay wage system under which worker performing the task within prescribed time are paid as much higher rate per unit than inefficient workers who are not able to come up to the standard set. Ang rate settings naga-recommend siya sa differential pay wage system. Ang ingon niya nga lahi ang sweldo sa nagtrabaho og maayo compare sa wala nagtrabaho og maayo. Muna siya ang rate settings nga gikuan ni Taylor, iyang gi-recommend kay mas kapoy man ang taas pud og kuan, kapoy man ang rate ang kuan sa katong nagtrabaho og gikuan jud nila ang ilahang ilang time, ilang paid, ilang prescribed time kaysa sa katong mga inefficient workers nga mo duty ra og kuan pila ka oras mo uli na. So ang ilahan ra pong gidutihan mura to ilahang kuan nga masweldohan sila. Muna siya ang scientific task. Thank you.
To planning, Having set the task which an average worker must strive to perform to get wages at a higher piece of rate, necessary steps have to be taken to plan the production thoroughly so that there is no bottlenecks and the work goes on systematically. So a worker must strive hard to perform or to do his work to get a higher wage or sahod, and a worker must follow or do the steps para makaplano og tarong sa production o para walay bottlenecks or workloads na moabot, and in that way the work will be done accordingly to the plan. Number 3, selection and training. Scientific management requires a radical change in the methods and procedures of selecting workers. It is therefore necessary to entrust the task of selections to a central personnel department. So, ang scientific management no, nanginahanglan siya og radical change or mabilisang pagbabago sa methods o procedures sa pag-select or pagpili sa mga workers. Tungod ana, it is necessary daw na ipagkatiwala ang task of selection sa Central Personnel Department. So, ang Central Personnel Department di I know is they are responsible for the policies, plans, and programs concerning sa civil service employees. The procedure of selection will also have to be systematized. So kailangan po daw na maayon sa plano ang procedure sa selection. And also, proper attention is needed to the training of the workers in the correct methods of work for them to be effective in their work with their skills. Number 4, standardization. Standardization may be introduced in respect of the following, which is A, tools and equipment. By standardization, it is meant the process of bringing about uniformity. So, ang standardization daw is meant to the process about uniformity or pagkakapareho. Then, the management must select and store or mag-imbak og mga standard tools nga pwede magamit. D. Speed. There is usually an optimum speed for every machine. If it is exceeded, it is likely to result in damage to machinery. So sa kada machine is na siya kaning sapat or katamtamang speed or paspason. Kana bang satisfied or sakto nga speed? Kay if masubraan daw, it is likely to result in damage sa machinery. So dapat enough lang. C. Conditions of work. To attain standard performance, the maintenance of standard conditions of ventilation, heating, cooling, humidity, floor space, safety, etc. is very essential. Para daw makamit ang standard performance, importante daw ang pag-maintain sa mga standard conditions of ventilation, heating, cooling, humidity. Humidity is amount of wetness or kabason. Floor space o safety. D. Materials. The efficiency of a worker depends on the quality of materials and the method of handling materials. So, gadepende lang ang ka-effective sa ka-worker sa quality sa materials o sa unsaon niya paghandle sa materials kay ug dili kabalo there is a possibility na maguba ang materials na gamiton. So kailangan kay balo jud unsaon paggamit.
Specialization. Specialization is a scientific management will not be complete without the introduction of specialization.
and also the act of specializing or pursuing a particular line of study or work. The process of specialization is when a business or a person decides to concentrate their efforts on a certain kind of production. Specialization simply refers to concentrating on a single task. A person who specializes narrows their concentration to one particular activity. So under the specialization plan, there are two functions. First is planning, second is doing. What is planning? Planning is a process of setting up of the goal and thinking what to do. And also planning is the function of management that involves setting objectives and determining a course of a plan. What is doing? Doing is an action of the plan so that the plan will be accomplished. So there are 8 functional foremen under the scheme of functional foremanship. First, the route clerk. The route clerk is to lay down the sequence of operation and instruct the workers concerned about it. Second, the instruction card clerk. The instruction card clerk is to prepare detailed instructions regarding different aspects of work. Third, the time and cost clerk. The time and cost clerk is to send all information relating to their pay to the workers and to secure proper returns of work from them. Fourth, the shop disciplinarian. The shop disciplinarian is to deal with cases of breach of discipline and absenteeism. Fifth, the gang boss. The gang boss is to assemble and set up tools and machines and to teach the workers to make all their personal motion in the quickest and the best way. Sixth, the sped boss. The sped boss is to ensure that the machines are run at their best speeds and proper tools are used for the work. Seventh, the repair boss. The repair boss is to ensure that each worker keeps his machine in good order and maintains cleanliness around him and his machines. And the last one, eighth, the inspector. The inspector is to show to the worker how to do the work. The next is mental revolution. Mental revolution is a shift in the perspective that affects both management and employees. The success of implementing scientific management hangs on a mental revolution among management and employees, on both their obligation to work together to produce the greatest surplus and the necessity. A present industry is divided into two groups, management and labor. Management wants the maximum possible share of the surplus as a profit. Labor, the workers wants as large share in the forms of wages. The enormous gain that arises from higher productivity. Such a gains can be shared both by the management and workers in the form of increased profits and increased wages.
Benefits of scientific management. Taylor's ideas, research and recommendations brought into focus technological, human and organizational issues in industrial management. Benefits of Taylor's scientific management included wider scope for specialization, accurate planning, timely delivery, standardized methods, better quality, lesser cost, minimum wastage of materials, time and energy, and cordial relations between management and workers. According to Gilbert, the main benefits of scientific management are conservation and savings, making an adequate use for everyone's energy of any type that is extended. So, Taylor's ideas, research, and recommendations daw kuno maoy nagdala sa mga issue sa teknolohiya, tao ug organizational issues sa industriya. So ang mga benepisyo sa pagdumala ni Taylor naglakip sa mas lapad nga kasangkaran alang sa specialization, accurate planning, timely delivery, standardized methods, better quality, lesser cost, minimum wastage of materials, time and energy, and cordial relations between management and workers. Tapos, according to Gilbert, Ang mga nagunang benepisyo sa pagdumala sa siyensya mao ang pagkonserba ug pagtipid, paghimo ug igong paggamit sa enerhiya sa matag usa sa bisan unsang mata nga gigasto. These are the benefits of scientific management. First, replacement of traditional rule of thumb method by scientific techniques. Second, proper selection and training of workers. Third, incentive wages to the workers for higher production. Fourth, elimination of wastes and rationalization of system of control. Fifth, standardization of tools, equipment, materials, and work methods. 6. Detailed instructions and constant guidance of the workers. 7. Establishment of harmonious relationship between the workers. Last, better utilization of various resources. Satisfaction of the needs of the customers by providing higher quality products and lower prices.
Hello, I'm Jimmer Bibis Estilo, and we're going to talk about criticism of scientific management. Workers' criticism. So these are the function of workers' criticism. Speeding up of workers. Scientific management is only a device to speed up the workers without much regard for their health and well-being. So, speeding up of workers daw is responsible sa paspas nga paglihok sa mga workers, expecting maximum output from them, thereby creating a lot of mental and physical strain on them. Next is loss of individuals' workers' initiative. Scientific management reduces workers to automatic machine by taking away from them the function of thinking. So, loss of individuals' initiative is ang workers is magperform siya work nga in the same style and carry out the instructions given by the foreman. So, muna siya ang dahilan nga no maguba ang individual workers initiative. Renders their skill useless, makes their work monotonous, and converts them into automatic machines. Next, problem of monotony. By separating the function of planning and thinking from that of doing, scientific management reduces work to mere routine. So, kanisiya is due to excessive specialization sa monotony, ang workers is not able to take initiative on their own. Their status is reduced to being mere cogs in wheel, jobs become dull, workers lose interest in jobs and derive little pleasure from work. Next is reduction of employment. Scientific management creates unemployment and hits the workers hard. Kani daw reduction of employment is ang workers daw makafeel daw sila og kaning ang management nga kuan reduce og employment opportunities from them through replacement of men by machines. And by increasing human productivity, less workers are needed to do work leading to checking out sa ilang trabaho. Next is weakening of trade unions. Under scientific management, the important issues of wages and working conditions are decided by the management through its scientific investigation, and the trade unions may have little say in the matter. Weakening of trade union. So everything is fixed and predetermined by management. So it leaves no room for trade unions to bargain as everything is standardized, standard output, standard working conditions, standard time, and etc. The last one is exploitation of workers. Scientific management improves productivity through the agency of workers, and yet they are given a very small share of the benefit of such improvement. So, exploitation. Ang workers daw, makafeel sila o they are exploited as they are not given due sa share in increasing profits, which is due to their increased productivity. Wages do not rise in proportion as rise in production. What we're going to talk about next is employers' criticism. So these are the functions of employers' criticism. Heavy investment. It requires too heavy an investment. The employer has to meet the extra cost of the planning department, though the foreman in this department do not work in the workshop and directly contribute towards the higher production. So, heavy investment daw is necessary gid siya para sa reorganization of preliminary. So, standardization of tools, machines, and equipment, and conduction of time and motion, studies, and other research activities for the introduction of scientific management, such investment may not be possible in small and medium-sized enterprises. Next is loss due to reorganization. The introduction of scientific management requires a virtual reorganization of the whole setup of the industrial unit. Work may have to be suspended to complete such reorganization. So, loss due to reorganization. In order to introduce scientific management, the old setup has to be changed. The work has got to be suspended due to reorganization. So, it is both time consuming and expensive. The workers may not easily adjust to the new techniques and sa process sa pagtrabaho. The last one is unsuitable for small-scale firms. Various measures like the establishment of a separate personnel department and the conducting of time and motion studies are too expensive for a small or modest-sized industrial unit. Kaning unsuitable for small-scale firm is siya yung mga kaning some methods or arrangement in scientific management, and such as the establishment of separate personnel department, conducting of time, motion and packages of studies, introduction of cost accounting, which are too expensive. And that is all. Thank you.
There are 7 contributions of scientific management. Number 1, emphasis on rational thinking on the part of management. Number 2, focus on the need for better methods of industrial work through systematic study and research. Number 3, emphasis on planning and controlling of production. Number 4, development of cost accounting. Number 5, development of incentive plans of wage payment based on systematic study of work. Number 6, focus on need for a separate personnel department. Number 7, focus on the problem of fatigue and rest is industrial work. Taylor was the pioneer in introducing scientific reasoning to the discipline of management. So, si Taylor ang pioneer na nagpaila sa scientific reasoning to the discipline of management. So, many of the objections raised were later remedied by the other contributors to scientific management like Henry L. Gantt, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth, and Harrington Emerson. So daghan og nagtutur pero naayo gihapon sa uban nga contributors sa scientific management like Henry L. Gantt, Frank and Lillian Gilbreth ug si Harrington Emerson. So Frank Gilbreth was born on 1868. He died on 1924, while Lillian Gilbreth was born on 1878. She died on 1972. The ideas of Taylor were also strongly supported and developed by the famous husband and wife team of Frank and Lillian Gilbreth. So, ang ideas ni Taylor is gisuportahan and developed nila Frank and Lillian Gilbreth. So, they made pioneering effort in the field of motion study and laid the entire foundation of our modern application of job simplification, meaningful work standards, and incentive wage plans. So, naghimo sila og pioneering efforts sa field of motion study og nagbutang sa tibok pundasyon sa atong modern application of job simplification and meaningful work standards and incentive wage plans. Mrs. Gilbreth had a unique background in psychology and management, and the couple could embark on a quest for better work methods. Frank Gilbreth is regarded as the father of motion study. He is responsible for inculcating in the minds of managers the questioning frame of mind and the search for better way of doing things. So Frank Gilbreth is responsible for inculcating in the minds of managers.
Galbraith's contribution to management thought are quite considerable. His main contributions are: first, the one best way of doing a job is the way which involves the fewest motions, performed in accessible area and in the most comfortable position. The best way can be found out by the elimination of inefficient and wasteful motions involved in the work. Second, he emphasized that training should be given to workers from the very beginning so that they may achieve competence as early as possible. Third, he suggested that each worker should be considered to occupy three positions. The first position is the job he held before promotion to his present position. Second, his present position, and the last, the next higher position. The part of a worker's time should be spent in teaching the man below him and learning from the man above him. This way would help him qualify for promotion and help to provide a successor to his current job. Fourth, Frank and Lillian Galbraith also gave a thought to the welfare of the individuals who work from the organization. Lastly, Galbraith also devised methods for avoiding wasteful and unproductive movements. He laid down how workers should stand, how his hands should move, and so on.
And now let me introduce to you who is Henry Lawrence Gantt. Gantt was born in 1861. He graduated from Johns Hopkins College. For some time, he worked as a draughtsman in an iron foundry. In 1884, he qualified as a mechanical engineer at Stevens Institute. In 1887, he joined the Meadville Steel Company. He worked with Taylor at Meadville Steel Company from 1887 to 1919, and soon he became an assistant to F.W. Taylor. He emphasized the need for developing a mutuality of interest between management and labor. So, Gantt made four important contributions to the concept of management. First is, Gantt tried to compare actual to planned performance. Gantt presented the process of work by showing machine operations, man-hour performance, deliveries, affected, and the work in areas. The chart was extended to facilitate day-to-day production planning. The second is task and bonus plan for remunerating workers, indicating a more humanitarian approach. This plan was aimed at providing extra wages for extra works besides guarantee of minimum wages. Under the system of wage payment, if a worker completes the work laid out for him, he paid a definitely bonus in addition to his daily minimum wage. On the other hand, if a worker does not complete his work, he is paid only his daily minimum wages. The third is psychology of employee relations, indicating management responsibility to teach and train workers. Gantt pleaded for a policy of teaching and teaching workmen to do their work in the process involved through pre-thinking of management. And lastly, Gantt laid great emphasis on leadership. He considered management as a leadership function. He laid stress on the importance of acceptable leadership as a primary element in the success of any business.
Harrington Emerson. Emerson was an American engineer. He devoted his attention to efficiency and industry. He was the first to use the term efficiency engineering to describe his brand of consulting. He called his philosophy the gospel of efficiency. According to him, efficiency means the right thing is done in the manner by the right man at the right place and in the right time. Si Emerson po ay isa po siyang American engineer. Itinuon niya ang kanyang pansin sa kahusayan sa industriya. Siya ang unang gumamit ng terminong efficiency engineering para ilarawan ang kanyang tatak ng pagkonsulta. Tinawag niya ang kanyang filosofiya na the gospel of efficiency. Ayon sa kanya, ang kahusayan ay nangangahulugan na ang tamang bagay ay ginagawa sa tamang paraan, ng tamang tao, sa tamang lugar, sa tamang panahon. Emerson laid down the following principle of efficiency to be observed by management. Inilatag ni Emerson ang mga sumusunod na prinsipyo ng kausayan na dapat sundin ng pamamahala. At ito po ang mga prinsipyong ito. Ideals, mithiin. Common sense, mabuting pangunawa at mabuting panguhusga sa mga praktikal na bagay. Competent counsel. Discipline, fair deal, patas na pakikitungo, proper records, wastong mga talaan, dispatching, pagpapadala, standards and schedules, mga pamantayan at schedule, standard condition, karaniwang kondisyon, standardized operation, standardized na mga operasyon, standard practice instruction, karaniwang tagubilin sa pagsasanay, and last, efficiency reward, gantimpala sa kahusayan.
Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol was born in 1941 at Constantinople in France. He graduated as a mining engineer in 1860 from the National School of Mining. After his graduation, he joined a French coal mining company as an engineer. After a couple of years, he was promoted as manager. He was appointed as general manager of her company in 1888. At that time, the company suffered heavy losses and was nearly bankrupt. Henry Fayol succeeded in converting his company from near bankruptcy to a strong financial position and a record of profits and dividends over a long time. So, Fayol was an engineer who worked his way up to become a manager sa French coal mining company. And mao na to, after a couple of years, he was promoted as manager. And then he was appointed as general manager sa iyahang company. And at that time, the company suffered bankrupt. But then, succeeded naman in converting his company gikan sa pagka-bankrupt hantod sa kaning stable na or strong ang iyahang financial position og mas nilambo pa. So Henry Fayol is considered the father of modern theory of general and industrial management. He divided general and industrial management into 6 groups, which is technical activities such as production, manufacture, adaptation. 2 commercial activities that has buying, selling, and exchange. 3 financial activities that has search for and optimum use of capital. 4 security activities, which has protection of property and persons. 5 accounting activities that has stock taking, balance sheet, cost, and statistics. And 6 managerial activities that has planning, organization, command, coordination, and control. So these 6 functions had to be performed to operate successfully any kind of business. He, however, pointed out that the last function, that is managerial activities, ability to manage, was the most important upper levels of managers. The process of management as an ongoing managerial cycle involving planning, organizing, directing, coordination, and controlling is actually based on the analysis of general management by Fayol. Hence, it is said that Fayol established the pattern of management, thought, and practice. So, hantod karon, ang management process is ginaila gihapon sa mga tao as mao ang ilang ginagamit or ginatangkilik para sa effective nga business.
Fayol's Principles of Management. The first of Henry Fayol principle of management is division of work. So, ang division of work daw, based on the theory that if an employee is given a specific task to do, they will become more efficient and skilled in it. This is opposed to a multitasking culture where an employee is given so many tasks to do at once. This principle of management will help us to become more productive, skilled, and efficient in the long run. There is authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility, it's stated that a manager needs to have necessary authority in order to ensure that their instructions are carried out by the employees. If managers did not have any authority, then they would lack the ability to get any work done. However, this authority should come along with a responsibility. And according to Henry Fayol, there should be a balance between authority and responsibility. Third one is discipline. This principle states that discipline is required for any organization to run effectively. In order to have disciplined employees, managers need to build a culture of mutual respect. And also, there should be a set of organizational rules, philosophies, and structures in place that should meet by everyone. And also, bending rules or slacking should not be allowed in any organization. In order to achieve this discipline, there is need for good supervision and impartial judgment. Next is unity of command. This principle states that there should be a clear chain of command in the organization. The employees should be clear on whose instructions to follow, and according to Henry, an employee should receive orders from only one manager. If an employee works under 2 or more managers, then authority, discipline, and stability are threatened. Moreover, this will cause a breakdown in management structure and cause employees to burn out. is unity of direction. This Henry Fayol principle of management states that the work to be done should be organized in such a way that employers work in harmony towards the same objective, using one plan under the direction of one manager. Sixth is emphasizes on subordination of personal interest to general or common interest. This principle states that the overall interest of the team should take precedence over personal ones. The interest of the organization should not be sabotaged by the interest of an individual. If anyone goes rogue, the organization will collapse. This time, let's talk about remuneration. Remuneration principle states that the employees should be paid fair wages for the work that they carry out. Next is centralization. The centralization refers to the concentration of power in the hands of the authority and the following a top-bottom approach to management. And also, in decentralization, this authority is distributed to all levels of management. Scalar chain. This principle refers to a clear chain of communication between employee and their superiors. Employees should know where they stand in the hierarchy of the organization and who to go in a chain of command. The tenth is order. Order. This principle states that there should be an orderly placement of resources, which is manpower, money, materials, and etc., in the right place at the right time. Next one is equity. Equity is a combination of kindness and justice. This principle states that the managers should use kindness and justice towards everyone they manage. Next is stability of tenure. This principle states that an organization should work to minimize staff turnover and minimize efficiency. Any new employee cannot be expected to get used to the culture of an organization right away. Next one is spirit of cooperation. Spirit of cooperation means team spirit. This principle states that the management should strive to create any unity, morale, and cooperation among the strength in their organization. Happy and motivated employees are more likely to be productive and efficient. The last one is initiative. This principle states that all employees should be encouraged to show initiative. When employees have a say as to how best they can do their job, and that's the meaning of initiative. These are the 14 principle management of Henry Fayol's.
Bureaucratic model. A bureaucratic model is a way of organizing people so there are clear reporting relationship from the top to the bottom of the organizational chart. This model of bureaucracy includes: number 1, hierarchy of authority, a ranking of position of authority often associated with a chain of command and control. For example, corporate ladder. Division of labor based upon functional specialization. Workers are assigned smaller, manageable tasks that contribute to the larger main activity. Example, a server in a restaurant is an example of a specialization of labor. Number 4, impersonality of interpersonal relationships. Form with another person in order to satisfy a need or goal. For example, when we interact with a cashier at grocery store, we are typically engaging in impersonal relationship. 5. A system of work procedures A system of work is a set of procedures according to which work must be carried out. Example, always report unsafe conditions, keep a clean workstation, wear protective equipment, offer guidance to new employees. Number 6. Placement of employees based upon technical competence. Job candidates with technical competence possess both soft and hard skills, consisting of measurable and personal attributes. Example, counseling is one example of technical competency. 7. Legal authority and power. Power is the ability to influence others and control their actions. Authority is the legal and formal right to give orders, make decisions. For example, a boss in a company has the power to set up regulations for the company's daily functioning. Bureaucracy provides a rigid model of an organization. It does not account for important human elements. The features of bureaucracy are: number 1, rigidity, impersonality, and higher cost of controls. Number 2, anxiety due to pressure of conformity to rules and procedure. Number 3, dependence on superior. Number 4, the tendency to forget ultimate goals of the organization. Bureaucratic model is prepared where change is not anticipated or where rate of change can be predicated. It is followed in government departments and large business organizations.
Neoclassical theory. Neoclassical theory is built on the base of classical theory. It modified, improved, and extended in the classical theory. Classical theory concentrated on job content and management of physical resources, whereas neoclassical theory gave greater emphasis to individual and group relationship in the workplace. The neoclassical theory pointed out the role of psychology and sociology in the understanding of individual and group behavior in an organization. So neoclassical theory is also referred to as human relations of thoughts. It was introduced based on classical theory. It was added, modified, and in some way extended classical theory. The basic assumption of this theory is that the physiological and social aspects of a worker as an individual and his work group ought to be focused on. In classical theory, the organization Tao emphasized order, structure, economic factors, formal organization, and objective rationality, while ang neoclassical theory nag-emphasize social factors and emotions at work. The neoclassical approach identifies the importance of physiological and social aspects of workers as an individual and the relationship within and among the group of the organization. So ang neoclassical theory is nagagain daw siyang importance is specifically in the rise of the Hawthorne experiment at Western Electric Company by the father of human relation management named George Elton Mayo from 1927 to 1932. So who is George Elton Mayo? George Elton Mayo was born on December 26, 1880 in Adelaide, Australia, and was died on September 7, 1949 in Polesden Lacey, Surrey in England. So George Elton Mayo was educated in logic and philosophy at St. Peter's College in Adelaide, Australia. He led a team of researchers from Harvard University, which carried out investigation in human problems at the Hawthorne plant of Western Electrical Company at Chicago. They conducted some experiments known as Hawthorne experiments and investigated informal groupings, informal relationships, patterns of communication,
patterns of informal leadership, and etc. Elton Mayo is generally recognized as the father of human relations school. Other prominent contributors to this school include Ruth Lisberger, Dexon, Dewey, Lewin, and etc. So si George Elton Mayo is anak noong December 26, 1880 sa Adelaide, Australia, at namatay siya September 7, 1949 sa Polesden Lacy Surrey sa England. He recognized daw as the father of human relations school. He studied logic and philosophy at St. Peter's College. So, George Elton Mayo daw is he led a team of researchers and they conducted some experiment, and one of their experiment is known as Hawthorne experiment. Hawthorne experiment. In 1927, a group of researchers led by Elton Mayo and Fritz Ruth Lisberger of the Harvard Business School were invited to join in the studies at the Hawthorne Works of Western Electric Company in Chicago. The experiment lasted up to 1932. The Hawthorne experiments brought out that the productivity of the employees is not the function of only physical condition of work and money wages paid to them. Productivity of employees depends heavily upon the satisfaction of the employees in their work situation. Mayo's idea was that logical factors were far less important than emotional factors in determining productivity efficiency. Furthermore, of all the human factors influencing employee behavior, the most powerful were those emanating from the workers' participation in social groups. Thus, Mayo concluded that work arrangement, in addition to meeting the objective requirements of production, must at the same time satisfy the employee's subjective requirement of social satisfaction at his workplace. So, Hawthorne experiment was in 1927 daw, Elton Mayo and Fritz Ruth Lisberger were invited to join in the studies at the Hawthorne Works of Western Electric Company in Chicago. Hawthorne experiment was lasted up to 1932. So ang Hawthorne experiment daw is naglast up to 1932. According to this experiment, ang pagka-productive sa employee is not about their physical condition of work o how much the management paid them, but the productivity of the employee is nakadepende sa ilang satisfaction in their work situation.
Good day everyone, my name is Maybelline Tiengosa. So today I will going to discuss the continuation of Hawthorne experiment. It is the 4 parts of Hawthorne experiment. So number 1, illumination experiment. So these experiments were performed to find out the effect of different levels of illumination or lighting of the productivity of labor. The brightness of the light was increased and decreased to find out the effect on the productivity of the test group. Surprisingly, the productivity increased even when the level of illumination was decreased. It was concluded that factors other than light were also important. So, ang illumination experiment is about siya sa pagpahayag or pagpalamdag. It is about the relationship sa illumination o output. Kung ang kahayag mo taas, ang output sub is magtaas. This experiment is used to find out how varying levels of illumination or unsa ang amount sa kahayag sa trabahoan. Ang output is nagpakita siya upward trend bisan ang illumination is nagkahinay nagpaubos sa normal level niya. So ang result is walay consistent nga relasyon ng output sa mga trabahante og illumination or kahayag sa factory. So number 2, relay assembly test room experiment. These experiments were designed to determine the effect of changes in various job conditions on group productivity, as the illumination experiments could not establish relationship between intensity of illumination and production. So kaning ang experiment is tuyo niya nga mahibal-an dili lang ang epekto sa illumination sa production but apil na pod ang uban pang hinungdan like gidugayon sa mga adlaw sa pagtrabaho or oras sa pagrelax and etc. This experiment is gihimo aron mahibalan ang epekto sa mga pagbago sa lain-lain mga kondisyon sa trabaho because of the illumination is walay relasyon or dili sila connected sa intensity sa illumination or kahayag and production. So ang mga researcher kay nakakonclude sila nga ang mga social psychological factors parehas sa recognition, participation, feeling of being important, o dili direct nga pagdumala is mao ang key or susi nga mas magtaas pa ang productivity. So let's move on to number 3. So, mass interviewing program. So, 21,000 employees were interviewed over a period of 3 years to find out reasons for increased productivity. It was concluded that productivity can be increased if workers are allowed to talk freely about matters that are important to them. So, this experiment has the ability to know the situations of the employees. Pinaagi pod ani nga program is mahibal-an ang kinaiya sa mga empleyado diha sa kumpanya. Giyon sa sila pagdumala ug daghan pang nagkalain-lain nga concern. This refers to the increase in performance of individuals. It was concluded that productivity can be increased if workers are allowed to talk freely about matters that are important to them. So, mag-increase ang productivity sa workers if magpagawa sila sa ilang mga opinions and the interviewers is maminaw sila sa mga opinions sa workers. So number 4 is bank wiring observation room experiment. A group of 14 male workers in the bank wiring room were placed under observation for 6 months. A workers' pay depended on the performance of the group as a whole. The researchers thought that the efficient workers would not pressure on the efficient workers to complete the work. However, it was found that the group established its own standard of output, and social pressure was used to achieve the standards of output. So this experiment is nay duha ka group ug nagconsist og 7 individual each group. So kaning experiment is para mahibal-an kung unsang result sa output if individual lang siya or by group. So ilang sweldo is individual but naay bonus if nindot ba ang result sa output if by group. So each group is helping each other to produce more so that they can earn more. Kay pag mas tarongon nila ang ilang output, mas dako silang sweldo nga madawat. But kani nga hypothesis is walay pulos. Kinahanglan each individual was restricting output. The group had its own unofficial standard of performance. Individual output remained fairly constant over a period of time, and informal groups play an important role in the working of an organization. So this study suggested that informal relationships are important factor determining the human behavior. So the output was lower than what company determined kay they have fear of unemployment, fear of raising the standards, protection of slower workers, satisfaction on the part of management. So each individual kay naghuna-huna sila sa ilang coworkers, so ang ilang gihimo is gilower nila ang ilang standard. Kay basin ang ilang kauban nga trabahante kay ma-pressure kay basin mag-request ang company nga kinahanglan ang output is taas o standard ug mas nindot pa gyud ang himuon pareha sa katong by group nga mga output.
Contribution of the Haltron experiment. Elson Mayo and his associates conduct their studies in the behavioral science method have many areas of application in management. So, si Elton Mayo o ang iyang mga ka-associates is nag-conduct sila og ilahang studies. So, behavioral science method is daghan of areas of management. So, The important features of the Hawthorne experiment are: number 1. A business organization is basically a social system. It is not just a techno-economic system. So, ang business organization is isa siya ka social system. Dili lang siya techno-economic system. Number 2. The employer can be motivated by psychological and social wants because his behavior is also influenced by feelings, emotion, and attitude. Thus, economic incentives are not the only method to motivate people. So, ang mga employer is ma-motivate by psychological and social want. Kay ang iyahang behavior is ma-influensyahan ang iyahang feelings, emotion, and attitude. So, ang economic incentives is dili lang method to motivate people. Number 3. Management must learn to develop cooperative attitudes and not rely merely on command. So, ang management is kinahanglan na ma-learn kung paunsa ma-develop ang cooperative attitudes o dili lang mag-rely sa command. Number 4. Participation becomes an important instrument in human relations movement. In order to achieve participation, effective two-way communication network is essential. So, participation is importante jud siya sa human relations movement. So, para ma-achieve ang participation, ang two-way communication is effective o essential jud siya. Number 5. Productivity is linked with employee satisfaction in any business organization. Therefore, management must take greater interest in employee satisfaction. So, ang pagka-productive is makahatag jud siya og kalipay sa mga empleyado no sa bisan unsa na business organization. Number 6. Group psychology plays an important role in any business organization. We must therefore rely more on informal group effort. So, ang grupo sa psychology is nagaplay og importante na role sa bisan unsa nga business organization. Number 7. The neoclassical theory emphasized that man is a living machine and he is far more important than the inanimate machine. Hence, the key to higher productivity lies in employee morale. High morale results in higher output. So, ang neoclassical theory is nag-emphasize nga ang man is a living machine and importante sab kini kaysa sa inanimate machine. So, ang key para sa higher productivity is ang employee morally. Elements of behavioral theory. The individual. Ang classical theory ay may iba't ibang individual na mas makilala pa, kagaya ng damdamin, emosyon, perception, at saloobin. Dinadala niya sa sitwasyon ng trabaho ang ilang mga saloobin, ang paniniwala at paraan ng pamumuhay, pati na rin ang mga kasanayan. Siya ay may tiyak na kahulugan ng kanyang trabaho, kanyang pangangasiwa, mga kondisyon sa pagtatrabaho at iba pa. Ang panloob na mundo ng manggagawa ay mas mahalaga kaysa sa panlabas ng katotohanan sa pagpasya ng produktibidad. Kaya, ang mga relasyon ng mga tao sa trabaho ay tumutukoy sa pagtaas o pagbaba ng produkto. Sumakatuwid, itinataguyod ng mga human relationist na ang pag-ampo ng multidimensional na modelo ng motibasyon na nakabatay sa pang-ekonomiya, individual at panlipunang mga kadahilanan. Work group. Ang mga manggagawa ay hindi nakahiwalay. Sila ay tao ng lipunan na dapat ratuhin ng mabuti sa pamahalaan. Participative management. Ang paglitaw ng participative management ay hindi maiwasan kapag binibigay diin ang mga individual at grupo ng trabaho. Ang pagpayag sa paggawa na lumahok sa desisyong pangunahing sa pagtaas ng produktibidad ay isang paraan ng pangangasiwa. Tinatanggap na ngayon ng management ang partisipasyong manggagawa sa pagplano ng mga nilalaman at trabaho at pagtakbo ng trabaho. Ang mga neoclassical theory ay nakatuon ang atensyon nito sa mga manggagawa. Ang layout ng halaman, makinarya, kasangkapan at iba pa ay dapat may alok na kaginhawaan at pasilidad ng empleyado. Sa makatuwid, ang neoclassical na diskarte ay sinusubukan upang masiyahan ang personal na seguridad at panlipunang mga pangangailangan ng mga manggagawa. At ang human relationist ay gumagawa ng napakalaking kontribusyon sa pag-iisip ng pamahalaan sa pamamagitan ng pagdadala sa limelight ng tao at panlipunang mga salik sa mga organisasyon. Mayroong maraming iba pang mga kadahilanan ng direktang nakaka-impluwensya sa pagiging produktibo. Nais ng modernong pag-iisip ng pamahalaan ng pantay sa diin sa tao at makina at maaari nating baguhin ang naaangkop na sistema ng tao at makina upang matyak ang parehong mga layunin, produktibidad at kasiyahan.
Good day everyone! Today, we are going to tackle the modern theory system approach. Modern theory. The system approach to management indicates the fourth major theory of management thought called modern theory. Modern theory considers an organization as an adaptive system which has to adjust to changes in its environment. An organization is now defined as a structured process in which individuals interact for attaining objectives. Which means, ang system is based on modern adjustments, di ba? System is a combination of elements. Applyan na siyang touch of modernity in which ang system is adaptive sa organization's external environment. Ug unsay mga changes sa gawa sa organizations nga pwede maka-help sa organization, i-adapt na siya. Modern organization theory is open system siya and adaptive. And when we say environment, it means how the organization works. Okay, next, system. The word system is derived from the Greek word meaning to bring together or to combine. A system is a set of interconnected and interrelated elements or component parts to achieve certain goals. System has three significant parts. Number one, every system is goal-oriented and it must have a purpose or objective to be attained. Number two, in designing the system, we must establish the necessary arrangement of components. Number three, inputs of information, material, and energy are allocated for processing as per plan so that the outputs can achieve the objective of the system. Okay, we have here the plans, inputs, process, and outputs. Plans, objectives, policies, procedures, program, schedules, and methods. Inputs, information, energy, raw materials. Process, conversion of inputs into outputs, man-machine system. Outputs, information, energy, materials, or goods. So, there is a last part. Murag part ay process sa isa ka system before ka maka-come up sa imong outcome. First, you should have your plans first, your goals, the purpose sa inyong output, unsa iyang possible procedures na agihan, the methods, programs, etc. and all na kinahanglan panuhon first before mag-make og move. Ipang-validate or ipang-assess pa na siya before mo proceed. Next is the input. Diba nagplano naman and all, so by now you should already have all the basic and needed information about sa output. And because you have now your informations na nasabtay knowledge about the energy na possible gamiton during the process, ang mga materials as well. Let's proceed to the process. All the plans and inputs will be held together to create the output. This part is when the raw materials will be produced to make an output, should it be made by a machine or merely the people. And last is the output. After processing the output, or should we call it as a product, you should by now have all the information about the product, the benefits, the ingredients if it is food and all. By now, you already have in hand the materials or the goods na na-produce during sa processing part. So, the system here is basically the overall nag-undergo nga process sa usa ka product before siya ni come up as an on-hand output.
Good day everyone, I am Bianca Cordova. I will going to talk about the topic of a design of a basic system. What is a system design? System design is a process of defining the architecture, interfaces, and data for a system that satisfies particular requirements. We have the following features of an organization as an open adaptive system. Number 1, it is a subsystem of its broader environment. Subsystem means a subsystem is a single predefined operating environment through which the system coordinate the workflow and resources used. An example ana kay a unit or device like computer system o connected po siya sa technology o sa organization. Number 2, it is a goal-oriented people with a purpose. Being goal-oriented means you are focused on reaching or completing specific tasks to achieve a planned outcome. People who are goal-oriented are driven and motivated by a purpose. Being goal-oriented daw, kanang nasulay set of goals para ma-achieve nila ang task within the deadline. Number 3, it is a technical subsystem using knowledge, technique, equipment, facilities. Technical subsystem. This subsystem refers to the use of knowledge, facilities, equipment, and technology by the people who work in the organization. Nag-refers daw siya sa knowledge, facilities, equipment, and technology. Concerned po siya sa technical resources needed to produce the product or service. Number 4, it is a structural subsystem, people working together on interrelated activities. Means ani is kanang teamwork or team building sa grupo because maoning way to collaborative effort sa group para ma-achieve ang goal o para ma-complete ang task pamaagi sa pagtinabangay sa tanan. Because teamwork is a most effective and efficient way to achieve the task. Number 5, it is a psychosocial system, people on social relationship. Means is, nagmatter siya sa understanding and how to explain the thoughts, feeling, and behavior of individual. Number 6, it is a coordinate by managerial system, creating, planning, organizing, motivating, communicating, and controlling the overall effort directed toward set goal. Means is coordination is na orderly arrangement sa group effort para mag-provide og unity and action in pursuit of common purpose. Napo siya 5 example of managerial function: planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling.
Good day everyone, my name is Princess Diane Guma and I'm here to discuss about characteristic of modern management thought. Ano nga ba yung mga characteristic sa makabagong panahon natin ngayon? The first one is the system approach. The system approach implies that decisions and action in one organizational area will affect other areas. For example, if the purchasing department does not acquire the right quantity or quality of inputs, the production department won't be able to do its job. This approach recognizes that an organization relies on the environment for essential inputs. Further, the environment serves as an outlet for its outputs. And system approach had 5 basic parts. The first one, inputs. Ang under dito sa input are raw materials, human resources, capital, informations, and technology. The second one, transformational process. Employee, under nito is employee work activities, management activities, operations method. And the third one, output. Output of products or services, financial result, information, human results. And the fourth one, feedback. Under nito is yung result from outputs influence input. And the fifth, last but not the least, the fifth one, environment. These components make up internal and external factors that affect the system. It draws upon the environment for inputs to produce certain desirable output. The success of these outputs can be judged by the means of feedback. If necessary, we have to modify out mix of inputs and products produced as per changing demands. And the second characteristic is the dynamic. We have a dynamic process of interaction occurring within the structure of an organization. The equilibrium of an organization and its structure is itself dynamic or changing. The classical theory assumes static equilibrium. The third characteristic, multi-level and multidimensional systems approach points out wheels are complex multi-level and multidimensional character. We have both a micro and a macro approach. The example of micro is a company. It has a little world or it just in a little space within a business system. And the second one is the macro and the great world with respect to its own internal units. Yung macro, ito yung meron na sa ibang bansa or around the world na siya na business system. Within a company, as a system, we have a production subsystem. The production subsystem encompasses basic function of standardization, development, technological preparation of product, purchase, planning, reservation, production operation, planning, production monitoring, production logistics, and production completion with calculation, billing, and analysis. And the second one is the financially subsystem. Must provide the necessary data for 100% of all accounting functions, including cost accounting, inventory, fixed assets, payroll, general ledger, accounts receivable, accounts payable, financial statement presentation, and any additional data required by the TBH. The third one, the marketing subsystem, is a component of WebSphere commerce server and provides numerous marketing concepts to your site designed to increase brand awareness and to attract and retain customers. And last, personal system means a personal system based on a merit principle system that rates applicant for a position using the objective set of skills, knowledge, abilities, behavior, or other characteristics required for the position. And the fourth characteristic, we have multi-motivated. Classical theory assumes a single objective, for instance, profit. System approach recognizes that there are maybe several motivations behind our actions and behavior. Management has to compromise these multiple objectives, economic objectives and social objectives, productivity and satisfactions. And the fifth characteristic is multidisciplinary. System approach integrates and uses with profit ideas emerging from different schools of thought. Management freely draws concepts and techniques from many fields of study such as psychology, social psychology, sociology, ecology, economics, mathematics, operation research, system analysis, and etc. The 6 characteristics multivariate. It is assumed that there is no simple cause-effect phenomenon. An event may be the result of many factors which themselves are interrelated and interdependent. Some factors are controllable, some uncontrollable. Intelligent planning and control are necessary to face these variable factors. We do not live in a vacuum. We live in a dynamic and complex microcosm, the great world system. The 7th characteristic, adaptive. The survival and growth of an organization in a dynamic environment demands an adaptive system, which can continuously adjust to changing conditions. A variable organization and its environment are in dynamic equilibrium. Last but not the least, probabilistic. Management principle point out only probability and never the certainty of performance and the consequent results. We have to face so many variables simultaneously. How can we have absolute predictability of events? Our forecasts and mere tendencies, of course, intelligent forecasting and planning can reduce the degree of uncertainty to a considerable extent. And the next topic is contingency theory. System approach emphasizes that all subsystems of an organization along with the super system of environment are interconnected or interrelated. Contingency approach analysis and understand this interrelationship so that managerial action can be adjusted to demands of specific situation or circumstances. Thus, the contingency approach enable us to evolve practical answer to the problems demanding solutions. Organization design and managerial action most appropriate to specific situation will have to be adopted to achieve the best possible result under the given situation. There is no one best way, as advocated by Taylor, to organize and manage. Thus, contingency approach to management emphasize the fact that management is a highly practice-oriented discipline. It is the basic function of managers to analyze and understand the environments in which they function before adopting their techniques, practices. The application of management principles and practices should therefore be contingent upon the existing circumstances. Contingency approach guide the manager to be adaptive to environment. It tells the manager to be pragmatic and open-minded. The contingency approach is an improvement over the system approach. It's not only examine the relationship between subsystems of the organization, but also relationship between the organization and its environment. However, the contingency approach suffers from two limitations. The first one is it does not recognize the influence of management concepts and techniques on environment. The second one, literature on contingency management is yet not adequate. So that's all about the contingency theory.
And that's it, everyone. We hope you learned something from our topic. If you have questions, we are willing to answer it. Thank you for patiently listening to our discussion.